for Mr. Sexton. He likes to ask them. Socrates liked questions too. So. Any questions?
Yes.
There was one we killed, but the one I always think of, thought that the other day I was thinking of, was we had a guy who wore a different set of clothes who went to a baseball game, pulled for another team, and when he came out, the current team beat the hell out of him and put him in the hospital for 6 months. Yeah. And it was all over.
But that happened way over on the West Coast. It doesn't affect us, right?
But the same idea is prevalent. It's the fact that
or has anybody from around,
a different idea.
Has anybody from around here had that happen to them recently? Last Saturday?
Yep.
In West Virginia?
They had a group of Morgantown that attacked some LSU fans.
Yeah. Don't like your colors? They beat you up.
But it happens on our streets all the time, too. In Baton Rouge, every night, I read about people getting shot because they're different. Climate
change. Scientists that oppose the popular view on what causes climate change. What happened to them? They were denied promotion. Their publications were refused. They basically were professionally destroyed. Is that not a form of book banning? Same thing they did to Galileo.
Nobel laureate physicist guy just recently removed his name from the American Society of Physics because of that.
Because of what they did, yeah.
Yeah, because of the issue that they said this was a settled thing. It's not settled.
Well, you know, we said the Einsteinian theory was pretty well settled until last Thursday. I love that. It's just all kind of great examples.
Well,
and it drives my daughter nuts.
The idea is you get comfortable with where you are because you understand the world in that perspective.
Sure.
And when all of a sudden, because there's this thing called the standard model, and it's explained lots of stuff. And there's some issues that they're still working on, but the standard model says this. But when they say the standard model may not be right because of that, that affects everybody to the point that they got to rethink everything.
Everything.
And that drives them crazy.
And Mr. Jensen's talking about the world of physics, but I would put to you that exactly what he said applies to every single aspect of our lives. We are comfortable. And when people start challenging the model that we have, the worldview, how we look at the world, we become very uncomfortable, and sometimes we respond, if not violently, then we respond and attack directly the person who dares challenge our comfort zone. It has as much to do about comfort zone as anything else. Somebody comes in and they want to change how you live your life, where you're comfortable living your life. You don't respond sometimes as well as you should. I think this change in physics, the possible change in physics, we don't know yet. It still has to be confirmed. But the effects it's going to have on our life are incredible. I'm going to die in a few years. I won't be around that long. But you guys are going to be around a really long time, hopefully another 60, 80 or more years. The changes, if this is verified, that it's going to create in your life are astronomical. You should be very concerned that the traditional physicists aren't able to hold down any change in the theories they like because they just don't like them. Because the changes that could occur in your life are just unbelievable. I'm not a physicist, I can't predict them. But I know my daughter's in a real tizzy. Have to change all the textbooks. Think about that. All your textbooks are not good anymore. Have to change how we look at life. One of the hints was that the particles may have arrived before they left.
The bending time.
Right, yes. Yeah. Think about that. They got where they were going before they left from where they started. That's just mind-boggling, isn't it? But it challenges our concept of the universe as a whole. We may not even understand the universe. We thought we did. Now we don't. Are you comfortable with that? If you are, you're probably an abnormal human being. Other questions?
Right over here. Right behind the table.
In the corner.
Oh,
behind
yes.
the plant.
Behind the
I came in late. I'm just curious, like you said, can you name someone who was put to death because of their beliefs, and you named all the good guys, and you didn't mention Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden because while we all say their views are wrong, they thought they were right.
Did they?
I believe they did.
Okay, so they
if
thought
they're willing to die and kill for these beliefs, then obviously they must believe that what they believe is right.
And why do you call them the bad guys?
In our view, well, the stereotypical good guy versus bad guy.
Okay, all right.
Is what I mean.
Name some more bad guys who got it to their beliefs.
Hitler.
Hitler. Oh, that's a happy one.
Pol Pot.
Pol Pot.
All of those
Y'all know who
bad
Pol
guys.
Pot was? One of my personal favorites. What about the guys that crashed the airplanes into the towers?
Yeah, those guys too.
Yeah.
I don't know their names, but them.
What was the idea they were proposing? I don't know their names either. I apologize. I should've. What idea were they proposing?
They were dying for Allah.
No, what idea were they proposing? We're talking about banning ideas here. They were willing to die for their ideas.
Their idea of Muslim rule of the earth.
Okay, all right. Had that idea been banned?
In our society, yes.
Oh.
To a degree.
To a degree. But we're still discussing it, right?
Right.
So is it appropriate to kill people who are still discussing your ideas?
No.
Oh. So are they martyrs for the cause of freedom of ideas? Or are they simply martyrs for that particular idea itself? Okay, I'm sorry, that was a convoluted question, wasn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
my question was as well, by the way.
of course it was. Did I answer it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, great, because I didn't think it did. I didn't think I answered it adequately. I'm not sure I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other people have
But
ideas.
that's the philosopher's mission, right? Not to answer it.
The philosopher. Well, thank you, sir. Rescued me. Rescued me. Yes, thank you. We have to ask ourselves: are we challenged by the ideas? Should Islam rule the world? Should it? Why not?
Because good should prevail over all.
Good should prevail overall. So there is an idea, and anything that doesn't fit that model then is an idea we should get rid of?
No.
Should we be challenged by these ideas, though? Should we
Yeah.
question our definition of good?
Yes.
Sure. And I think if we use that kind of concept, people come in with ideas that we find totally abhorrent. Right? We can immediately throw them out and gain nothing other than perhaps an enemy. Or we can consider the idea and discuss with the person. Socrates, the ancient Greeks, taught us the concept of argumentation. I'll come back to you, I haven't forgotten. Argumentation. Argumentation is also called reasoning together. Argumentation requires, number one, that we look at our own ideas and make sure our ideas make sense, that our ideas hold together. Second of all, argumentation involves that we reason with other rational minds. We expose our ideas to other people so they can look at those ideas, tear them apart or build them up, but basically help us improve those ideas. That's the difficult part of argumentation because we're not comfortable with it. We don't like other people. I learned a long time ago, that if I wanted to feel good about a paper I was writing for grade school, take it to my mother. Oh, she loved it. It was the best paper ever written. She put it on the refrigerator. It was wonderful. If I wanted a better grade, I took it to my father because he tore it apart. And invariably, I earned a better grade that way than when my mother looked at the papers. So you take your ideas that you want to improve, you take those to people that are going to tear them apart and help you build better ideas. If you just want to feel good about your ideas, take them to your mama or somebody else. Lots of mothers also will help you improve your ideas. You just have to know your own parents. Who would you take an idea to that you really, really, really wanted to do better at? Would you take it to your best friend who really likes you? Or would you take it to your enemy who has no reason to make you feel good? So when we have ideas like this, these are ideas that should challenge us to make ourselves look, what is our definition of good?
Right.
What does it mean to be good?
And it goes beyond tolerance because, you know, you hear it prevalent in our society, the idea of tolerance and the idea of good should conquer all or be over all. It goes beyond tolerance and allowing other ideas to be heard, to be understood, to be questioned. You know, and then that way it's an open perspective beyond tolerance.
What happens to a society that rejects and refuses to consider other ideas?
It becomes closed off and isolated and defensive and sometimes on the offense.
And eventually self-destructive?
Yeah.
I think so. All right. Question, hand was up over here.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing about what does good mean?
Excellent. Good deal, y'all agree?
And it has to remain at a question, I think.
Has to remain a question.
Yes.
Oh, would Socrates be happy with that?
I think so.
I think Socrates would be very happy with that, yes. Socrates, here's the thing, folks. We think about Socrates, he's old, he's dead, he's long gone, but we're still dealing with the questions he raised 400 years later. Now, he and his students changed the world. Socrates' student was Plato, Plato's student was Aristotle, Aristotle's student was Alexander the Great. Right there, Socrates changed the world. But he asked questions and his students amplified the questions, and we're still attempting to answer them today. Where we have answered the question, we no longer have philosophy, we have science. Physics was philosophy at one time. And even though it makes my daughter very uncomfortable, parts of it are very philosophical today.
I have a question for you. What's a philosopher's definition of a rational mind?
What is a philosopher's definition of a rational mind?
Because you said one of the points of argumentation is to talk to a rational
Sir, we need them to bring in... What is a rational mind? A rational mind is one that is capable of reasoned, logical thought. And it's a simple definition. It's not adequate by any means, but let's start there. A rational mind is one that is capable of reasoned, logical thought. So, are dolphins rational? Don't know. What about aliens? People who live on other planets? They must be rational because they haven't come here. That's not fair, sorry. Yeah.
They may have.
Yeah.
I believe they do.
Other questions? Other concerns?
Bob Sexton, thank you so much. Before anybody moves, there are a couple of things we want to do. First of all is remind everybody that Dr. Byers will be coming in at noon to talk about theater and censorship and give a historical. He'll go back to the time Socrates was living, back to 2,500 years ago, with some playwrights all the way up to the present. Also, I want to do a little drawing today we have some door prizes.